I'm putting it out there. I'm picking the Auburn Tigers to win the Iron Bowl.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on in to Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us. The latest on the coaching chatter, the coaching carousel, Auburn's coaching search coming up. I think Cam Coleman and Keldric Faulk have an incredible opportunity on Saturday. Darrell, you've got a few names to add to that as well, but let's start things off. I think Auburn is going to win on Saturday. I think this will be one of the more historic performances by an interim head coach in college football. I think the matchups where Auburn can excel against Alabama are there. And Darrell, I think for the first time in a long time, it actually seems like this Auburn team has a chance to go up against Alabama and say, look, hey, I know y'all are good, but we think we can run the football. We think we have receivers that can catch it no matter who you put on them. And we've got a quarterback that seems to be ready to make the correct decision consistently. And on the defensive side of the ball, yes, the DBs and the pass defense has been up and down. I just don't see a world where DJ Durkin does not have these guys prepped and ready to go going into Saturday.
Yeah, all great points. And I can see exactly where where you're getting to with those, because other people have come to that conclusion. I'll hold off until Friday's show to give my opinion on who I think will win. But I will say this, a couple of counterpoints to that. It is very, very strange to me that there is so much, I guess, confidence coming out of particular bases and camps about Auburn. A little bit of hand-wringing from the other side of the state as far as fear of what could happen.
Yeah.
And typically, Zach, when this game is played and there's a big gap or gulf between the two teams' seasons, it very rarely is there an upset. Okay. So on paper, Auburn's 5-6, Alabama's only lost 2 games. And when that typically happens, it's just the same thing when Auburn's, the dominant team.
Right.
That's why this one feels so weird and so different and so unlike any in a long, long time. And I think because
the 5-6 has an asterisk next to it.
It does.
Because we shouldn't have been. Our head coach limited us so much, Darrell.
Yep. And I think those other years, there was a big roster gap, right, as far as talent. And that has been closed some, and officiating, self-inflicting wounds, gross derelict of mismanagement by the head coach all contributed to not utilizing that roster the way it needs to be utilized. Think about this. The last 2 times Alabama came to Jordan-Hare with, in my opinion, less talented rosters.
Yes.
Auburn should have won both games. And I didn't say could have. I said should have won both games. So is this the third time the charm with a really, really veteran quarterback that's making the right reads, with a coach, an offensive coordinator is going to put them in the right position, with perhaps a defensive coordinator that won't rush 2 on 4th and long? I mean, there's a lot of different variables. Receivers that can compete with Alabama's receivers as far as talent. Auburn actually having the better running back room, the better running back. I mean, the better lead back. I mean,
they're being used better for sure.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different variables to this statistically. Whose defense is better? All those things change what Auburn's had to do the last couple of years when Alabama came to Jordan-Hare. This is a little different, and I think the mismanagement part's the biggest thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah, and look, I mean, what's happening in Alabama and Tuscaloosa, it's different than what it's been for the past decade plus. I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. He's not Nick Saban. But the roster's still super talented. But culturally, when Nick Saban was there and there was pressure put on Alabama, you saw the greatest form of that. I don't know if you've really seen that since Kalen DeBoer has been there. And with Nick Saban, there was always this like expect to win no matter what. That seems gone a little bit. I mean, we've seen Florida State and Oklahoma both bully Alabama. Can Auburn do that? I said it off air to several people. I probably said it to you throughout the year. Like, man, Auburn can run on Alabama, and Hugh Freeze just isn't going to do it. But Derek Nix will. And I think that's going to be a big, big part of this.
Well, the Saban factor is real. I mean, even with Nick Saban being on the sidelines, Auburn, was fortunate enough. When I say fortunate enough, they won some games. I think Kalen DeBoer is a very good coach. I don't think he's elite. No one is Saban. And anybody that said you don't know if Alabama's going to have that significant of a drop off when Saban leaves, there's no way you can know that. You can't look in a crystal ball. Well, the law of averages says when you lose the greatest coach of all time, there is going to be somewhat of a drop off.
Right.
DeBoer's a really good coach. I think he has. Now, that being said, if Alabama was to lose this Iron Bowl, that's 6 losses in 2 years minimum. That's not territory that Alabama's used to being in.
They will turn on him so quick.
And
if Alabama loses to an Auburn with an interim coach that would finish them going 6-6 and probably to something like the Birmingham Bowl, they would turn on him so fast, Darrell.
Oh, I think there's already some chatter, and the masses are riled up and the natives are restless already. I've seen things. I have friends that are really good, really good friends that are Alabama fans. We know people in media that cover Alabama that are scratching their heads. I mean, all you got to do is watch some post-game shows after the Oklahoma game, and they're already there's a certain faction that already has. This would kind of, I think, seal the deal if DeBoer was to lose to Auburn and have 3 losses and miss the playoff. Because look,
playoff for bust.
It's not just about losing the Iron Bowl and having 3 losses on your schedule. It's missing the playoffs again. And when it's an expanded playoff, there's no way Alabama fans ever expect to miss an expanded playoff format.
Right. So yeah, all that to say, and we'll continue talking about this game on this show and throughout the week, but I'm picking Auburn on Saturday, and Darrell will share his pick on the Friday show, the Black Friday edition of Locked on Auburn, and I'll include my score prediction there as well. But as of right now, I'm taking Auburn over Alabama on Saturday. What do you think? Let us know in the comments or on socials. Would love to keep the conversation going. Cam Coleman, Keldric, Faulk, and others have the chance to cement themselves in Auburn lore forever. That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Darrell, the Auburn Tigers, a 5.5-point dog, according to our friends at FanDuel, in the Iron Bowl on Saturday. I think the line makes sense. I don't have an issue with that line whatsoever. Them, dropping it with it being under a touchdown, I think makes sense. We'll see how the guys play on Saturday. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Kia Autosport of Columbus. We love Kias here. I have bought a Kia when we were expecting our second child. We needed more room. And of course, the versatility of the Kia Sorento. It's our favorite SUV out there. You can check them out at KiaAutosportColumbus.com, or you can go see them in person. They're in Columbus, Georgia, right off of Whittlesey Boulevard. When you get there, mention the show. Hey, I heard about you guys on Locked on Auburn. That's $500 off any new Kia right there. And of course, Darrell, you've mentioned this before during the live read. Tires for life. That's any new Kia. Game changer. Game changer. KiaAutosportColumbus.com. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. I've mentioned this a few times this week, Darrell. When you think about Auburn greats, they're usually tied to a moment in the Iron Bowl. Cam Coleman, Keldric, Faulk have the resume to be Auburn greats already. But to solidify their place in Auburn history, have a moment in an Iron Bowl, win an Iron Bowl you're not supposed to, and you will be remembered forever.
I really want to see it with Faulk. I don't want this to sound blasphemous, but as great of a player as he is, and I mean, top 15 pick, I can't recall the last couple of years where there's been that moment, that signature moment in that game that either seals the game for Auburn or wins the game for Auburn. And he is too talented to not have a strip sack when Auburn's up 3 and the other team's driving, or not cause a fumble, or not do. I mean, the talent is there, but I want to see. I'm ready for his big All-American moment. Now, Coleman has had those, obviously, perpetually through the game. It's a little bit more difficult, I think, for a game-changing moment to be made by a defensive lineman than it is a wide receiver. Coleman has already showed that. But again, could he catch that pass, the big deep ball that puts Auburn up, or breaks a couple tackles, or makes the one-handed catch in the end zone on the fade ball? There's a lot that could happen, and those are two excellent choices.
Yeah, and there are other guys, and I spat it out too. Who should we add to this list, Darrell?
I like Jeremiah Cobb.
Of course you do, and that's a great one.
Because if he goes for like $140, $130, and goes over 1,000 yards, plus has like that those drives where you've got to get first downs, or you've got to run the ball, and they know you've got to run the ball, and you still rip off 6, 7, 8 yards and get a couple big first downs, or get that touchdown in the open field, that would be big. And then Xavier Atkins is my other. Just absolutely making a play where he causes a turnover, gets a big sack, makes a tackle behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 3 or 4th and 3. You know what I mean? Those type of moments. And so I like those two. I'd like to add their names to the lore.
I've got another one, and this is a little bit of a deep cut, but I think I can back it up. Rayshawn Pleasant. My biggest complaint with this team is when the game is on the line and somebody needs to make a play on either side of the ball, nobody does it, with the exception of Rayshawn Pleasant, returning a kick against Baylor, or of course the pick 6 against Arkansas. It would not shock me if he's like, I've got one more in me, and I've only been here a year, but I understand what this is. I understand how much this fan base cares about this. I understand how all of college football keeps an eye on the Iron Bowl. And when the game's on the line, I want to win. I want the opportunity to put the game out of reach. So I'll add Rayshawn to this list.
That's a good one. I'm going to add somebody one more time. And I said this earlier in the year, but it seems like the tide is turning for this person. He's coming around. He's becoming himself again. How about a game-winning kick to go in more for our friend Alex McPherson? I mean, he banged it from 47 and 49. Yeah. How about a tie game, 6 seconds to go? You got to kick a 40-yarder to win it, and he splits them.
That'd be awesome. That'd be 30 for
because
30
you go into right you go into Iron Bowl Van Tiffen,
Yep.
You go it was Holmes. Jared Holmes was the one that kicked it in 97 to send Auburn to the SEC West Championship and the SEC title game in the fumble game. So, there is that.
Yep.
Kickers can be legendary too in these games.
What if we get a Preston Howard redemption game?
Why do you keep asking me that? And you know what my reaction is going to be. So I'm just, let's just.
No, I think it's going to come around. Law of averages. I think he's got a shot.
I hope
goal line.
I hope
3-yard touchdown pass. You think they're focusing on him? I would love it. I would love the redemption story.
I hope it does. That would be wonderful if he caught.
It'd be great for everybody.
A little drag pass in the end zone, roll out, boom.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I try to give him some juju, some good vibes Saturday morning when I videotaped him in the end zone catching balls.
He was balling.
I was trying to change the narrative.
Yep. Yeah. Who do we leave off this list? I mean, you can make the case for any receiver, right? Like, does Eric Singleton have a chance to pop? Absolutely. Malcolm, absolutely. Perry in an Iron Bowl. That'd be fun. And then, of course, any defensive back, like, who's going to be the guy to, have the chance to pick off Ty Simpson. Like, there's plenty of options there, which is good for Auburn. So the coaching chatter is still going on, but it does seem to be settling down, which probably should make us nervous, but I don't know. It's not. I feel comfortable with it. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at GameTime. GameTime is the best place to buy tickets. It doesn't matter what it's for, Darrell, but we'll talk about the Iron Bowl just for a second. We've all got those family members that are coming over that are just absolute bammers. And you may get a little fired up. You're like, you know what? I'm going to this game. I'm going to go to this game because I want to see it when we just shock them. Head over to GameTime. Download the free GameTime app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $20 off your first purchase. There is not an easier ticket buying process than our friends at GameTime. Or, hey, you're talking with family and maybe you want to plan, to go see a baseball game or a basketball game later this year, whatever it might be, use GameTime. Doesn't get better than that. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the GameTime app today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. And it is the spirit of Thanksgiving this week on behalf of Darrell and Kyle and Lindsay. We're all super, super thankful for all of you that tune in, whether you're listening or watching or whatever it might be. We're thankful for each and every one of you, and we hope you all have a very, very happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that real quick. I just, there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'm very, very thankful for being a part of this network, this channel, but it really hits home when I'm out and about, and I'm thankful for the people that take the time to say we listen, we enjoy it. Thank you for what you do. That means a ton. Thank you for watching and listening. Yes. And so it's humbling. So this is a perfect time to show gratitude and give thanks to those folks that thank us and really appreciate and acknowledge that.
Yep. Absolutely. Well said.
And maybe at some point before we hit record, you can ask me my favorite Thanksgiving side dish since we're going into the Thanksgiving holiday.
What is it? Go ahead and tell me.
No, you got to give me you got to give me a couple choices. Guess what would you think it would be? You got dressing, you got macaroni and cheese. I think you had like a casserole. You had mashed potatoes.
I would guess that your favorite is going to be something that's a little off the beaten path.
Okay.
I'm going to go cranberry sauce.
I absolutely hate that worse than anything on this planet.
I haven't talked to anybody who likes it.
It's like a fruitcake, for Christmas. You know why I'm not a big dressing fan, and of course I'm not even going to say what I call it because I'm tired of getting food shamed. But Brad,
you don't call it stuffing, do you?
I grew up in a different region of the country.
Get out of here.
Okay, but Brad Law said
mac and cheese your favorite? That's my favorite.
No, but let me just say this: dressing can't be because of what's in it. And Brad Law, yes,
you hate cornbread. Yeah.
Yes, mine is mashed potatoes and gravy. I love mashed potatoes and gravy.
Do you like chunky mashed potatoes or creamy as can be?
Creamy as can be, and then you take that gravy and you put it on the turkey and you put it on the mashed potatoes. And I do love mac and cheese, and I do love like green bean casserole, and I do like
gravy on all of it.
I like and I do eat dressing, which is weird that I eat it with this cornbread in it, but I like it. I do.
Well, that's cool. Yeah,
because I put gravy on the dressing
straight up, but I love salsa or like marinara. I get it. Great. Okay. Cool.
So there you go.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. What are we doing? Coaching chatter.
Yeah, sorry.
It's really settled down. Like, it really seems like it's done, Darrell. And Cohen has the chances, could be Cohen's plan to blindside everyone. And this is actually my hire. It seems like it's going to happen on Sunday. That's what everybody's whispering. We've talked about how whenever it seems obvious, it usually isn't. This seems to be an exception, Darrell.
It does. It seems to be the rarest of exceptions because it was the name that was the most obvious out there, the earliest, the one that made the most sense. I am a little bit more jaded. I believe that that's where it's going. I just remember in 2022, there, from a verbal standpoint, there was all indications were the Lane Kiffin to Auburn thing was done. And I stepped out of a Eagles concert in Birmingham and started getting texts from people that you were a part of that said, this may not be done. Lane may be staying. We may, Auburn may have to pivot. And of course, 4 days later, they did. So this feels different than that, though. It really does. I mean, because there's not an inherent or an incumbent school, if it's Sumrall, doing everything they can to keep him or even being able to compete. If you're Tulane, you can't compete. Ole Miss could with Auburn, obviously, and Lane was already there. Now, there are some schools I still believe and still feel really, really confident in saying that there are a couple more schools that are still reaching out to John Sumrall and still talking to him and keeping contact. I think the difference is if you're John Sumrall, do you want to be a backup plan to somebody or do you want to be that person's first choice? And if you're Florida or Ole Miss and you're talking to John Sumrall, make no mistake about it, he is your plan B.
Right.
You know that if you're John Sumrall.
Well, and we've heard that with a few coaching candidates, right? Like that was kind of the rumblings with was it Lincoln Riley? Was that kind of part of it where it's like could be interested in Auburn?
But let me see what LSU is doing first.
Yeah, at least that was the rumor, right? That was the speculation. And I mean, John Coleman doesn't strike me as that kind of guy who's like, yeah, no, I'm not waiting for you. No shot.
I also don't think he's saying, hey, we want to go after Lane Kiffin. We want to go after Lincoln Riley. We want to go after Kenny Dillingham. But if we don't get any of them, John Sumrall, you're our guy. I don't think that ever happens.
Doesn't seem like that's happening.
No, I think that he was targeted early and often. And I think that Auburn showed him that he was their top priority and their top choice, where Florida and Ole Miss is a fallback plan. It is. It just is. They are going after – one's trying to retain Lane Kiffin, and then they're saying, oh, John Sumrall, come home to Ole Miss if Lane leaves.
The first show I did post-freeze firing, and that was about the next coach, I started John Coleman's first call needs to be John Sumrall. And it's just wild that stayed true.
Yeah, so that means a lot. I think if you're John Sumrall, you go, do I want to go where I was their first choice? I was wanted by them, not a fallback plan, not a plan B. And I don't care what Ole Miss says. I don't care what Florida says. That's exactly what it would be, period. If Lane Kiffin leaves, if we don't get Lane Kiffin to Florida, there's a lot of ifs. Auburn is replacing the if with we want. And so that has to matter. And I think that matters to his family, who, obviously wife, Auburn graduate. Again, I've been burned before thinking that something 100% was the done deal. But this seems like it's the rarest of occasions where the obvious choice, the name you've heard the most from the get-go, other than Tuberville, who I remember during that coaching search, that name came out early. He made a denial about, in a pine box and still came. So other than that one, I think this is – I don't know if there's going to be an out-of-left field candidate that emerges and gets the job.
Part of me wants that just for the excitement.
Yeah, I don't – unless
I sold myself on Sumrall now where it's like, okay, let's do this.
The only way that I think it would be an upgrade at this point is if it was absolutely a shocker surprise that was like – big
would
boy
Lincoln Riley be that?
Yes. Lincoln Riley would be that.
Would Eli Drinkwitz be that?
No.
That one's closer to me than it is for you.
Yeah, Dillingham, as much as I wanted,
better.
Yeah, it would be better. The perception would be better.
I'm real close on Drinkwitz.
I see. And we're talking perception. We're not talking about what actually could happen with ceiling and all that. I think Dillingham,
there's no way for us to know that. There's no way for us to know that.
And the only reason why Dillingham, and you're going to say, well, that is so hypocritical because you just, absolutely downplay Drinkwitz. The only reason why Dillingham comes with a little bit more flash or a little bit more of seems like is because it's a power four. You're going to say, well, so is Drinkwitz. Well, Drinkwitz has that thing hanging over his head with the record against top teams in the SEC.
Dillingham, power four that's been to a playoff.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, yep. with Dillingham for sure. But does that change if Tulane goes to the playoff this year?
Yes. Excellent point. Excellent point. People will go. People say, "Oh, we want a coach that's got someone to the playoff." Well, you
got Tulane there,
and guess what? I don't know. The argument can be made: is it harder to go as a group of 5 or harder to go? Well, let me put it this way: there's a smaller margin of error if you're a group of 5 to go.
Right.
You can lose 2 games as a Power 4.
Then it's fascinating. Like, does he coach Tulane if they go?
You let him.
I think I want him to.
You let him, and you
let him on national television. And every time people are watching the college football,
Auburn future head coach,
they're talking about Auburn.
He can do 2 jobs. I know it's hard, but you can do 2 jobs. And again, I've said it before. You have the inherent luxury of DJ Durkin on your
DJ Durkin. Yeah, it's a 4-hour commercial for Auburn whenever game he plays in. Yeah, absolutely. You do that.
Yep.
Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Follow me on X, Dap6410. I hope you caught our live last night with the Auburn-Michigan game. Obviously, depending on how it all shakes out, we'll be doing more basketball lives. And then, of course, the Iron Bowl spectacular when it's over from the press box. Late.
Yes. And, so we'll be live after Auburn's basketball game later today. And then I will have a show with Jimmy Stein. We're expected to record that later. That'll be up tomorrow. So just because it's Thanksgiving, I will still have a show out. It'll drop the same amount of time and all that. And I think the SEC Squad Show will be out Thursday afternoon as well. So should be normal programming despite the craziness of this week. Once again, thankful for all of you. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.